Wow. Okay. Yeah. Because I think there was a time, I believe I was just driving through Cambria, and I stopped at this I don't know if it was like a little market or something, but they had said that they got hit with a 100-degree day temperature, and it was so rare to them. She said everybody was panicking because nobody had air conditioning. So on those rare days, it does put people in a panic, right?
It does. It can change people's moods, too. I know for me, if I'm too hot, I'm going to be cranky. Which reminds me, I ended up making that delicious lasagna for my neighbor when it was extremely warm. So I was in the kitchen baking and just sweating profusely. So hopefully it turned out well.
Wait, so you actually accomplished one of your goals then?
Yes, I made sure. I was determined. So I actually made too many batches of lasagna, and now it's all looking at me. And of course, it has to be eaten.
Okay, so tell me, so you made the lasagna, and then tell me the reaction that what happened when you finally because you had been talking about this for a couple of weeks, and you're like, I'm putting it off. What happened when you finally delivered it to your neighbor?
Well, I ended up giving it to his daughter, which was fine. I didn't get to see his reaction, but funny enough, yesterday morning he came knocking on my door to let me know that street sweepers were coming once again, and delivered the empty pan, and said thank you. That was absolutely delicious, and he was very sweet, very happy. So I'm glad that I got to do that for him.
You'd been talking about it for a couple weeks, and you put it off because you're like, I'm new to the neighborhood. I'm kind of shy still, and I don't want to, put off any, perceptions or whatever. It might be the case that people think. And you did it, and look at that. Wow, that is so awesome. It's great to see that you were able to accomplish one of those things. And, now look at that. You might have created a relationship with your neighborhood, and with your neighbor, and now who knows? I guess the sky's the limit with your relationship and your neighbors.
Absolutely. It's nice to form a nice little bond, everybody watching everybody's house, and it's a nice little neighborhood, so I'm glad that we did that.
And I want to follow, I want this to kind of follow with not only our viewers and listeners, but also in my own life. I want to start doing things like this where, hey, a simple little card that you can give to a neighbor or even a heads up that you're having an event, those common courtesy things. Like the other day I was at home and a neighbor brought over a little flyer that said, hey, just heads up, we're going to have a couple cars here because we're having a family event. And it just made me feel good because it's like, oh, well, they actually thought to bring me something to kind of give me a heads up that they were, that we were going to have a lot of cars, and it's nice to be considerate, I guess.
Absolutely, and it's the gesture, just letting you know, giving the heads up, like you said, is, I don't know, it goes a long way. I don't know why, but it goes a really long way with me too.
Well, Amy, you had mentioned that you were suffering a little bit from a cold, and I've been telling my listeners and viewers today because we were talking about food recipes that help you through the crappy colds, and we brought that up with our segment of Dr. Golden. But I do just want to reiterate to our listeners and viewers, and I just want to say, hey, we know it's on the way. So start prepping. Don't be walking out barefoot when it's 40 degrees outside, and you don't have any shoes or socks on. That's you're going to get a cold. I mean, just by doing that.
Well, I can tell you, I'm 48, almost 49, and my mom still tells me to put on a jacket. Really, Mom? I'm telling my kids to put on a jacket now. I'm looking at myself going, oh, I've turned into my mom for sure.
It doesn't end. Oh, man. All right. Well, here's a story, Amy, for you, a positive story this morning. Shelby Skiles was unable to sleep one recent night while staying with her 2-year-old daughter at Children's Medical Center Dallas when she began to write. Skiles, who's 28, had spent nearly every night since May at the hospital after her only child, Sophie, was diagnosed with an aggressive form of T-cell lymphoma. Skiles estimates she and her husband, Jonathan, who have met hundreds of nurses throughout the course of Sophie's treatment. The toddler is awaiting a stem cell transplant and after undergoing 15 rounds of chemotherapy. And remember, folks, the child is 2 years old. That helped stop the progression of the cancer. But the intense chemotherapy left Sophie unable to walk, talk, and eat on her own. It was like 3 a.m. and I was sitting on that uncomfortable couch in the hospital and I just couldn't sleep. Skiles said about the night this month she began to write. I just started writing down what the nurses do and just kept going. The list included more than just routine checkups, all the things I see them do for us and for people. Skiles wrote, like the nurse who sat on the floor with me and when I had a panic attack when the diagnosis was set. Skiles posted a letter of her gratitude of the nurses to a Facebook page she and her family created for Sophie called Sophie the Brave. And in this post, it's just incredible what she wrote. And I'm just going to read a little bit of it. She says, I see you. I sit on this couch all day long and I see you. You try so hard to be unnoticed by me and my child. I see your face drop a little when she sees you and cries. You try so many ways to ease her fears and win her over. I see you hesitate to stick her or pull Band-Aids off. You say, no owies, and I'm sorry more times in one day than most people say thank you. I see all those rubber bracelets on your arms and wrapped around each one for a child that you've cared for and loved. I see you carrying armloads of medicine and supplies into one child's room, all while your phone is ringing in your pocket from the room of another. I see you put on your gloves and mask. I see you. We all see you. No amount of snack baskets or cards can fully express how appreciated you are. You are Jesus to us every single day. Our children wouldn't get to get what they need without you. Moms like me wouldn't feel sane or heard without you. You save our babies, and we couldn't do this without you. Love, a mom that sees all you do and loves you dearly for it. Wow. Just a touching letter, and it's actually longer than that, but I cut it short here for our segment. But this woman who's a mom of a 2-year-old that is going through chemotherapy just wanted to send a letter to these nurses because she's saying, hey, I see you and I appreciate you. And I just thought that was a great story, especially for these nurses that are out there working really hard every day.
Well, Joey, I'll tell you what, that is PMA right there. I mean, to find appreciation and gratitude under those circumstances, that's PMA. I mean, that's complete. She was observant and she was in the moment, and to be overcome with this gratitude that she felt to write a post is, I'm sure that every nurse that saw or read that felt, it makes them feel good, because they need to hear that more, I think.
No, you're right. And I went to a children's hospital here locally, a big children's hospital in Fresno, Valley Children's, one time. I think it was maybe 5-6 years ago. And, I had a chance to walk through those halls and see the parents that are going through something every day. And sometimes we forget about that. There are a lot of people, that have their kids right now in the hospital. And this is a 2-year-old. I just can't imagine, watching my daughter as a 2-year-old sit and go through these therapies like chemotherapy. I just, I can't fathom to even think about what these parents go through.
Nor can I. I mean, my nephew was a preemie, and he weighed 1 pound 6 ounces, so he was born 3 months early. And the nurses were remarkable, and they become family. My sisters, they're like family. They get together. They go to the hospital to visit all of them, and you just have so much gratitude for what they can do for your family.
No, you're absolutely right. All right, Amy, well, I thought that was a great story. Even though the mom and the family are still going through those circumstances with their 2-year-old, I love the fact that, like you said, a definition of positive mental attitude, PMA, showing gratitude even under those circumstances. And once again, we're just here trying to promote it to our listeners and viewers to follow those same steps. Now, Amy, every week here on the show, we provide ourselves some goals. And you had mentioned that you just accomplished one of your goals that you've been trying to accomplish over the past couple of weeks. And we want people to know that we're not all going to be perfect. So even if I say a goal right now, doesn't necessarily mean that I'm saying, hey, you have to accomplish that goal. At least we're saying we have a goal, and maybe one day we might check it off of our list. So I just want people to know that that we're not perfect. We're not saying, hey, you have to be this way. We're just trying to help everyone live a better lifestyle, right, Amy?
Definitely. That's the goal anyway.
Yeah, I just don't want people to think that we're coming off like, hey, we want you to be positive, we want you to be this, and it's going to happen overnight. No way. I mean, we will have our bad days as well. We don't want people to think that just because we're spreading positivity means that it actually has to be like that every day. We understand not everyone is going to have a good day every day.
Oh, and I think I've mentioned too that, there are many days and many moments that I think, oh, but I have to give myself that time and then try to fix it by, positive dialogue. But we definitely, I'm far from perfect, and I'm okay with it. I'm learning as I go.
Well, one of my goals this week that I'm going to bring up is my daughter. She's 10 years old, and she's just, when she gets passionate about something, she just, you can just see the passion in her face. And, she's been really passionate not only about, certain things that she's enjoys to do, but she just joined book club at her elementary school, which I was like, baby, are you really like giving up your recess for book club? And she's like, yeah, I can't wait for book club. I'm like, okay, I would have never done that when I was a kid, but it's just great to see her passion for it. So she's also in dance, and she's passionate about dance. So my goal this week is to do a project with my daughter. I mean, we've been doing like these little YouTube videos. They're private videos. I don't put them out as far as on social media and stuff. But I like that she gets passionate about making a YouTube video. So one of my goals this week is to sit down with her and edit a video with her and just kind of see her passion come through and live that with her for a day.
Well, it sounds like you're bringing out the star in her, which is great for any little girl. We all like to be the middle of attention too sometimes. Okay, my goal this week, inspired by actually this story we just read, but I'm gonna, I was in a car accident and I was in a coma and I had great care. I have never thanked those doctors and nurses for all that they did for me. Now, mind you, this is, I don't know, could be 30 years now ago, but I really want to at least thank the hospital, and hopefully it'll get to them somehow.
That's fantastic. That is fantastic. So thank you so much, Amy, for joining me this morning. I know you and I, we're starting to, just kind of get in the groove of things here. So we're really like enjoying having this segment. So we've gone a little longer than we were supposed to, but it's okay because we're keeping positive and we're doing positive things here this morning. So Amy, once again, thank you so very much for joining me this morning, and have a great week. Okay.
Thank you, Joey.
And what do we tell our listeners every Wednesday?
PMA, baby.
There it is. Even with the hurt throat, she still does it for us this morning. That's a true MVP right there.
Thanks, Joey. Have a great week.
All right, you too. That's Amy with Positive Mental Attitude. It's the Eggs, Bacon, and Joey Morning Show. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere.